A large part of southern Ontario is experiencing a rare and hazardous mid-April taste of winter. A mix of ice pellets and freezing rain triggered power outages and highway chaos yesterday, and it is not over yet. Now, roads do remain treacherous. More than 500 accidents took place in and around Toronto alone yesterday, but the areas affected stretch from Windsor in the west all the way to North Bay in the north. Hydro crews continue with repairs that have cut power off to thousands of people in Ontario, and freezing temperatures will likely end this afternoon. But the rain is complicating matters, as that will continue throughout the day, and that also means a risk of flooding in addition to all that ice and cold.
It's the rain that's coming. I was just outside and you could already feel it really coming down, and that's what the city is afraid of. It says that we're not out in the clear yet, although the city of Toronto has weathered this storm quite well. We're not out in the clear. What they're saying is they're expecting a lot of rain. Some of it could be freezing rain, and with that, of course, there is the risk of flooding. So the Mayor John Tory was explaining today that they had to make some very significant decisions in terms of managing all of this. Have a listen.
One of the things that I was most impressed by in being up in the emergency center is that they've looked at this entire event over, say, a 36-hour period. And I think, as you all know, the forecasts, which have been very accurate to date, have contemplated heavy rain coming later today. And if you plow all of that slush and all of that frozen ice pellets onto the side of the road, it dramatically increases the chances that we would have a real flooding problem if we get heavy rains later on.
Toronto's Mayor John Tory is also warning everyone right now that although most of the roads are okay, they're still slick, they're still a little slushy, and he's telling everyone right now to stay home. If you don't have to go out, don't.
Well, we have to say that all these weather woes are causing headaches at Canada's airports. People are sharing images online of long lineups inside and outside of Canada's busiest airport. We're talking about Toronto Pearson. And with that, let's bring in Natasha Fatah. She's been gathering some of the stories that are out there. So what do you have for us here, Natasha?
Well, Michael, let's have a look at some of the pictures we are seeing online and people who are sending us images of those canceled flights. If you go into Canada's busiest airport, Toronto Pearson, you're going to see a lot of red. Those are for delays and cancellations. At this stage, 25% of their flights are canceled. At Porter Airport, also in Toronto, 37% of their flights canceled. And at Ottawa's airport, 19%. And those are the cancellations. That doesn't take into account all the delays and the ripple effect that has across the country. So the images you're seeing now were posted on Twitter by a number of people. You see the mess at the airports. You can see the long lineups, people waiting to get on board their flights. And if they can't get on board their flights, they're sleeping. So the person that sent us that picture of people sleeping at the airport, he's really gone through quite a bit of a headache, Michael. This is a man who's gone from Vancouver, got to Toronto, has to get to St. John's, for hours has been on the phone with Air Canada, or at least trying to get to a real human being, said he hasn't had much luck. So instead, they're going to fly him to Halifax, and eventually from Halifax, he's going to get to St. John's. It's been a huge ordeal for him. Let's bring up one of his more frustrated tweets where he's painting a picture of what's going on. It says, the elderly and children, Air Canada passengers walking around Pearson all night looking for staff to assist rebooking flights, no hotel availability, 3-hour outdoor wait for taxi, and no shuttle downtown overnight. Hashtag shameful and unacceptable. So this person is not holding back, Michael. He's frustrated. I want to give you some updates from the people who are responsible for how the airports are running. The Greater Toronto Airport Authority says that, like any hub of transportation and any mode of transportation, of course, airlines and airports are going to be affected by the freezing rain and the weather and the cold and the ice. They say they expect more delays today. They're at full capacity at their de-icing facility, and they've got additional staff there at all the terminals. They're trying to get people on board those flights, but they are anticipating more cancellations and delays, asking people to be patient. We've also reached out to Air Canada, especially considering how frustrated some folks are. Not heard back from Air Canada, but we have heard back from WestJet, and they say the same thing. Look, the weather is bad. It's going to have an effect. It makes it unsafe to travel. And they regret that 65 cancellations in WestJet have taken place in the last 2 days. They're asking once again for people to be patient. They're hoping that everyone will get to where they need to get within the next couple of days.